Hi, I'm Dr. Dominic McLoughlin, and today I'd like to talk to you about how to build your people skills. For any manager, but particularly as a new manager, one of the key things that you need to be able to do is to be able to learn from your mistakes. Part of learning from your mistakes is being able to take feedback on board. So feedback from other people can be very helpful in terms of the style in which you communicate, the way in which people perceive what you're doing. All of these things are important to be able to accept and to learn from, even if the person who's making the suggestion, providing the feedback, is not entirely correct. There's usually something to be learnt from it. In addition to being able to learn from your own mistakes, you also need to be able to allow your team to make mistakes as long as they also are prepared to learn from them. So that means that you're not going off at people who have made an honest mistake. Rather, you want to point out to them the mistake that's been made, how it could have been done differently, and the lessons that can be drawn out of the mistake that's been made. Another thing that's really important when you're trying to build your people skills is to be genuinely concerned for the people in your team as individuals. So getting to know them, to know their situation, but also to be thinking about where they want to be in terms of their career and being concerned for them as a whole person. In addition to looking out for your team and the individuals in your team, you also need to have certain expectations of yourself. You need to be prepared to work hard. Sometimes managers, particularly new managers, feel that they're just kind of overseeing. They don't have to do any work themselves. But that's not the way to ensure that you have a really strong team. In addition to the work you're doing yourself, you also need to be prepared to help your team on occasions. Sometimes there'll be extra workload or there'll be a particularly difficult problem. Sometimes they might need some assistance. All of those things are going to mean that you need to be prepared to help your team when they require it. Another really important element is to be able to seek to resolve the difficulties your team are encountering. Sometimes the difficulties are not actually team-based. They might be in the wider organization. There might be something someone's doing before you get the work or afterwards that's causing your team a problem. So another part of building your people skills is being prepared, being able to go into bat for your team, being prepared to assist in resolving problems which are outside of your team's control, as well as solving those problems that crop up in any team. The final factor that's pretty important as a new manager or as any manager is projecting that air of confidence that whatever the problems are, they can be resolved. So that confidence that you have in being prepared to put in the work to solve a problem really communicates itself to your team, and therefore problems are not an insurmountable obstacle, but only something which needs to be worked on methodically, regularly in order to get the issue resolved. Building your people skills can seem a bit overwhelming, but one way to start on is just to take 5 minutes a day of quiet time. So book an office, turn your phone off, make sure you don't have distractions. So just take 5 minutes a day for 5 days to make a start. You'll be surprised how much progress you can make just making time to do this regularly. In your first 5-minute session, it's good to consider who you could praise today. Who did a really good job yesterday, or who's been working really hard? Is there someone that you can praise? Positive feedback really helps your team to feel like their efforts are noticed and that you actually care about them as people. On your second day, you might like to consider whether there are any opportunities to have some fun. An example might be you have to have a fire drill. So can you have some donuts for everyone afterwards or something just a little bit fun to kind of add an ingredient of fun, camaraderie, team spirit, add something that's a little bit kind of uplifting into things that have to be done anyway and can seem rather routine and annoying. In your third 5-minute session, you want to think about whether there's anyone that you haven't spoken to for a while. We can tend to speak frequently to the people we get on well with, but there might be someone in your team that you haven't spoken to for a while, and it's probably worthwhile making sure that you speak to everyone on a regular basis. The other thing to think about is, apart from the good mornings and good evenings, there might also be someone you haven't really had a chat to one-on-one. So another question for that day 3 5-minute session is there someone I haven't spoken to one-on-one to understand their goals, to understand how they're getting on? In your fourth lot of 5 minutes, or on your fourth day, you want to think about whether there's anybody that you need to speak to about their performance. So this may not be a formal kind of performance, rebuke. It might be more of a, how's it going? Where are you up to? Do you need any assistance? There are a number of ways to have these conversations, but you do want to make sure that your team as individuals are able to perform. In your final 5-minute session on day 5, you want to take 5 minutes just to put some time in your calendar for the following week to have a 1 hour team meeting and spend the rest of your 5 minutes thinking about what you're going to say in that team meeting. You're going to want to make sure you can update the team on progress toward team goals and also how things are traveling in the organization more generally. One of the things that's really important in terms of your team is they look to you to hear what's going on in the wider organization. And sometimes even saying that there's nothing much going on is also good because they feel like they're not missing out on any information. So in that last session of 5 minutes, you just want to take a bit of time to plan what you're going to say in your 1 hour session with the team the following week. I hope you enjoyed that video. Please check out my website, dominicmclaughlin.com, and check out my free course on businessleaderslab.com.